I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I've been married to my wife, Lisa, for about 5 years now. We seemed fine, normal even. We had our ups and downs, sure, but I thought we were solid. Then came the worst weekend of my life, my grandmother's funeral. She was the kind of woman who could light up a room, the kind of person everyone loved, and her death hit us all hard. I thought it would be a somber, respectful day. Little did I know, that day would turn into a nightmare. Lisa was acting weird for weeks before the funeral. She'd get snippy over small things, snap at me for no reason, and was unusually distant when I tried to talk to her. I figured she was just stressed out, grieving, or maybe she was hiding something. But I never suspected what was really going on until the funeral itself. I was standing there, trying to keep it together, when I caught her sneaking off with my best friend, Mike. They disappeared for a good 15 minutes. I didn't see what they did exactly, but I saw the way her face lit up when she returned, like she just won some damn prize. That's when I started noticing the little things. Her phone kept vibrating at odd times. She'd get defensive when I asked about her whereabouts, and she started lying about where she was going. I found her phone one night after she'd gone to bed early and I couldn't resist. I unlocked it, and that's when I saw the messages, flirty, suggestive, and a lot more intimate than what I was comfortable with. Some of the texts were from Mike, but there were others from some guy I'd never even heard of, talking about how she loved the way he made her feel, how she'd never felt so alive. It was clear she'd been cheating on me for months, probably even before the funeral. I was stunned, honestly. I felt like my heart was ripped out. I kept asking myself how I missed the signs, how I didn't see this coming. It hurt so bad to realize I'd been betrayed by the two people I trusted most in this world. The worst part was knowing she'd been lying straight to my face, acting like everything was fine. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat there with her phone in my hand, staring at those messages, wondering how she could do this during a time when I needed her to be my rock the most. The betrayal cut deep, and I was furious, hurt, confused, everything all at once. I knew I had to confront her, but I wasn't ready for what was coming next. The next morning, I couldn't keep it inside anymore. I called her out while she was still half asleep, her hair a mess, eyes still puffy from crying the night before. I told her I knew about the messages, about the affair. Her reaction. She rolled over, looked at me with that bitchy smirk she's gotten so good at, and said, "Oh, Jake, you're just overreacting. It's not what it looks like." As if I was some paranoid idiot who couldn't see what was right in front of his face. She kept lying, kept spinning some bullshit story about how it was just sex, that she didn't mean anything and that I was being ridiculous. But I was. I could tell she was lying, and I could see her trying to manipulate the situation. Make me feel guilty, play the victim. She even had the audacity to say I was overreacting because I was so busy with work and ignoring her. Yeah, right, I was furious. I told her I needed space, told her I was going to think about everything, but inside I was already planning my next steps. I couldn't stay married to a liar and a cheat, especially someone who thought she could just lie her way out of this. Over the next few days, the pain settled in. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I thought about her lying, about her sneaking around behind my back, I felt sick. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind. How I missed the signs, the little things she did, the way her phone was always hidden, how she'd get defensive whenever I brought up Mike or the mysterious texts. It was all there, right in front of me, and I just hadn't wanted to see it. I started digging through her stuff more, trying to find answers. That's when I found the jewelry box she kept tucked away in her closet. I rarely looked in there, but something told me to check. I opened it up, and that's when I saw the love letters hidden inside, folded carefully. They weren't just your typical "I miss you" notes. These were explicit, full of details, promises, and confessions of how much she loved this guy. It was like peering into a secret world she kept from me. I read each one, feeling a mix of nausea and heartbreak. It was as if the woman I married was a stranger, living a double life, and I was just realizing how deep her lies went. I felt betrayed all over again, but this time it was more personal. These weren't just texts or flirty messages. They were genuine love letters, the kind you'd expect from someone who truly cared. And right there in her jewelry box, I found proof she'd been hiding her feelings for someone else for months. I didn't sleep that night either. I just sat there, clutching those letters, wondering what the hell I was supposed to do next. Was I supposed to forgive her? Could I ever trust her again? Or was this the end of us? The pain was so raw I didn't even know how to process it all. After finding those love letters, everything changed for me. It was like someone had punched me in the gut, but worse. I couldn't believe she had been carrying on this secret life behind my back, and now I had the proof right in my hands. The betrayal wasn't just emotional anymore. It was tangible. I knew I had to confront her again, face her with what I'd discovered, but I also knew I had to plan my next move carefully. I couldn't just blow up and do something I'd regret, but at the same time I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. That afternoon, I waited until she was out of the house. I needed time to calm down, to think about what I was going to say. I sat in the living room, staring at those letters, trying to make sense of it all. My mind raced with questions. How long had this been going on? Was she truly remorseful, or was she just playing some game with my feelings? Every time I looked at her handwriting, that same bitchy smirk she always threw at me flashed in my mind. I felt disgusted at her, at myself for not seeing it sooner, and at the whole damn situation. When she got home, I knew I couldn't avoid the confrontation anymore. I called her into the dining room where I had the letters spread out on the table. She looked surprised, maybe even guilty, but her face quickly changed into that icy, bitchy expression she always wore when she was trying to spin her lies. I looked her in the eyes and asked her to explain the love letters. Her response: she said it was just some stupid flirtation, that it didn't mean anything and I was overreacting again. She said she loved me, that she was just lost and confused, that I wasn't paying enough attention to her. I didn't buy it, not for a second. If she truly loved me, why hide something so damn important? Why keep a secret stash of love letters to another guy? I told her I'd seen enough, that I couldn't trust her anymore, and that I was done pretending everything was fine. She got angry then, started yelling, calling me paranoid, saying I was controlling, saying that I was just jealous because she was more beautiful than any woman she knew, and that I was insecure. Honestly, hearing her try to gaslight me made my stomach turn. That night was the worst. The house was dead silent, and I just sat there staring at the letters, thinking about everything. I felt a mixture of rage and heartbreak. How could she do this? How could she lie so easily? I remembered the times she'd snapped at me for questioning her or for being too controlling. Now I knew she'd been playing me all along. I felt like a fool, not just for trusting her, but for ever believing I had a real marriage. I realized at that moment that I was at a crossroads. I had to decide whether to forgive her and try to fix this, or finally face the truth and walk away. The pain was overwhelming. I wanted to believe she was remorseful, but deep down I knew better. The next few days felt like living in a nightmare. I kept going over everything in my head: her lies, the love letters, her reactions. Every time I saw her, I felt this burning mixture of anger and sadness. I wasn't sure if she was truly remorseful or just playing some sick game to keep me from walking away. Honestly, I couldn't tell anymore. Her actions after the confrontation didn't help either. Instead of trying to fix things or show genuine remorse, she doubled down on her bitchy attitude, throwing fits, accusing me of being paranoid, and insisting I was overreacting again. It was like she was trying to make me feel like I was the crazy one. One night, I finally hit my limit. I decided I needed to see if she was genuinely sorry or if she was just good at pretending. So I cooked up a little plan. I knew she kept a stash of jewelry and personal stuff in her closet, so I carefully went through her jewelry box again, this time looking for anything that might give me clues about her feelings or her plans. And that's when I found more. Hidden between her necklaces and earrings, I discovered a second batch of letters, more love notes, more confessions, all from the same guy. This wasn't some one-time thing. She'd been carrying on for months, maybe even longer, and I had been so blind. That was the final nail in the coffin for me. I felt betrayed all over again, but this time it was worse because I had proof, solid proof, that she'd been lying to my face and hiding her affair right under my nose. I felt sick to my stomach, but also strangely relieved. At least now I knew the truth. I couldn't keep pretending anymore. I needed to make some serious decisions. I knew I couldn't stay with someone who so clearly didn't respect me or our marriage. I started thinking about what my next step should be, whether I should pack my bags and leave or try to confront her one last time and lay everything out there. The problem was, I still loved her, or at least I thought I did. I kept wondering if there was any way to save this, if she was really remorseful or just good at pretending. But deep down, I knew the answer. No matter how much I wanted to believe she'd change or that she truly cared, her actions told a different story. She was a liar, a manipulator, and a cheater. I felt hollow, broken even. I realized that trust, once broken so badly, is almost impossible to repair. I'd been played for a fool, and now I had to decide what I was willing to do with that. Whether I'd fight for her or walk away, I knew I'd never see her the same way again. The days that followed were the hardest of my life. I kept replaying everything, the moments I had missed, the signs I ignored, her lies, her sneers when she thought I wasn't looking. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and furious all at once. I kept questioning myself. Was I stupid for trusting her? Did I somehow deserve this? How long had she been doing this behind my back? The love I thought we had was crumbling, replaced by this gnawing sense of betrayal that refused to go away. At the same time, I knew I couldn't keep living in this limbo. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. I had to decide whether to confront her again, to demand answers, or to just pack up and leave without looking back. Honestly, the thought of walking away felt like the only way to reclaim some shred of dignity. But I also knew her. She's the kind of woman who's good at spinning stories, at turning things around so she's the victim. I didn't trust her to be honest anymore. I needed a plan. That's when I decided I'd gather everything, the text messages, the love letters, the evidence from her jewelry box, and confront her with it all at once. I wanted her to see she couldn't lie her way out of this. She'd always been bitchy and manipulative, but now she was cornered. I knew she'd try to deny everything, spin some excuse or blame me for overreacting, but I was ready. I had all the proof I needed. I also decided that I'd record her, just in case she tried to pull some stunt. I wanted to be sure I had my facts straight and I didn't want to be played again. That evening I sat her down again. She was trying to act calm, but I could see the panic in her eyes. I pulled out the love letters, the messages, the evidence from her jewelry box. I laid everything out piece by piece. Her face twisted in anger, then in defiance, then in that bitchy sneer she always wore when she thought she was winning. She denied everything at first, said I was jealous, that I was imagining things, that I was paranoid, that she loved me and only me. I pointed out the proof and her facade cracked. She started yelling, accusing me of spying, of invading her privacy, of trying to ruin her reputation. Honestly, I'd never seen her like this before. She was pretty much losing her shit. I just sat there, watching her, feeling the weight of everything, her lies, her deception, her betrayal. I realized I'd hit a point of no return. I told her I couldn't do this anymore, that I was done playing her game. I told her I was leaving. I didn't say where, just that I needed time to think, to breathe. I packed a small bag, told her I'd be staying at a friend's place for a while. The look on her face was priceless, part furious, part desperate, like she knew she'd lost control of the situation. Walking out that night, I felt a strange mixture of relief and heartbreak. I knew the marriage was over, at least for now. She'd betrayed me so badly I didn't see how we could ever fix this. But more than anything, I felt like I was finally taking control of my life again. The trust was shattered, and I had no illusions about trying to save it. Now I just needed time to heal, to figure out what I really wanted. The love I once had turned into ash, and I knew it was time to move on. But damn, the scars from this betrayal are going to stay with me for a long, long time. Since walking out that night, everything has changed. I won't pretend I've found some easy closure. I still wake up sometimes with her face in my mind, the image of those love letters. The betrayal still stings. But I've started to rebuild myself piece by piece. I've realized that trusting someone is a risk, and sometimes that risk isn't worth the heartbreak. I've learned to listen more carefully to my instincts and to never ignore the small signs of trouble again. Looking back, I see how her bitchy attitude, her manipulative lies, and her constant games kept me blind. I thought I knew her, but I was just a fool to believe that. She played on my kindness, on my love, and on my trust, and in the end she used those things to hurt me the most. The love letters, those words from another man, were the ultimate proof that I was just a placeholder in her life, someone she could lie to and manipulate without remorse. Now I'm focusing on myself. I've started seeing a counselor, not because I want to get her back, that ship has sailed, but because I need to understand how I let myself get so blind, how I let her manipulate my feelings for so long. I want to learn from this. I want to make sure I don't fall for the same tricks again. I've realized that I deserve someone who respects me, who's honest, and who doesn't hide love letters in her jewelry box as if they're some dirty secret. And honestly, I'm not bitter anymore. I'm hurt, yes, but I'm also stronger. This experience has taught me that sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away, even if it hurts like hell. I've come to accept that not all betrayals can be fixed. Some people just aren't worth the pain. I've learned to trust myself again and to value my own happiness over someone else's lies. It's been a long road, but I feel like I'm finally heading in the right direction. So if there's one thing I want to tell anyone reading this, especially those who might find themselves in a similar situation, it's this: trust your gut. Pay attention to the signs. And if someone shows you their true colors, don't ignore it just because you love them. Love isn't enough to fix a broken heart, and sometimes walking away is the bravest thing you can do. I won't say I'm fully healed, but I'm definitely on my way. And that, for now, is enough.